Got up this morning, things weren't working right. I said I wanna make a change. I said I wanna fight. Obama walked up and said, yes, we can. I said I wanna ride your nuts, cause I think you're the man. Now I'm dick riding Obama, Obama. Now I'm dick riding Obama, Obama. Now I'm dick riding Obama, Obama. Now I'm dick riding.
Dick riding for tomorrow, dick riding for today, dick riding for the straight, dick riding for the gay, dick riding for America, dick riding for rock. It's okay to ride that dick, just as long as it's Barack's, and now we're dick riding.
I thought the Boondocks was kind of hilarious how a lot of times they would have white characters voiced by black actors and then black characters voiced by white actors. Like especially like the one-off characters that like weren't long-running characters in the show. Like you would just have a character that would show up for an episode or two and they would be voiced by like I said, the white ones would be voiced by a black person or the black ones would be voiced by a white person. The Boondocks is incredible. Like I I think people appreciate it for what it was, but also it's not well enough known, just like mainstream wise.
Yeah, it's like a niche thing, you know. It's one of those niche niche things that like if you know Boondocks, you know Boondocks.
But kind of like the early season, the first two seasons of Rick and Morty were kind of the same. It was like the people who knew, and everybody else was like, "What? What is that?"
And then it became popular, and then like they gayify it.
yeah. Then it gets all the dumb bullshit. Yes, and Corey's right. We need Boondocks now more than ever. There's a lot of the stuff that like what would have been considered, or what would be considered offensive humor and stuff now that we had like when I was in college and you would have been quite a bit younger. But but I mean you catch a lot of that stuff because of people that you run, the circles that you run in with, like me and Clyde and Dag and some of us who were raised on that shit. Like South Park has at least like held up over time. Like it didn't get gayified. It didn't get like woke stupid. It has stayed good and stayed true to what it was. And it's a lot of social and political commentary and making fun of the bullshit. So I watched that. Remember?
Now they do. How like there was this. Of course, there has to be. This ties in perfectly. Actually, there was this tweet that someone was talking about, and they were like, "Yeah, essentially, the only thing I will say about all of those, like even look, Boondocks kind of I feel like had a little bit more to say about it because they were obviously like." It was both a pro and making fun of Obama a lot of times, but I feel like South Park, they would make fun of like certain presidents. Like here's the actual tweet I was looking at. It's like they don't make fun of Biden. They do make fun of Trump. They call him whatever turd sandwich or whatever. It's like
I don't so much worry about the like not making fun of Biden thing because. I mean, the jokes write themselves with him. Oh, hang on. My ex wants something. Huh? Entertain yourself for a second.
You can take that a minute. Oh, I'm not going to DSP on live on air, but this is what I was talking about, though. That like South Park, they won't make fun of Biden. They wouldn't dare make fun of like Kamala. Like they're not going to parody those people, but they have and will parody, something like Trump, or whatever. Like they even say like, "Hey, I don't know what we can say about Trump." They probably want to do commentary on that because it would be funny to see like a parody sort of like Trump getting shot and then like him throwing his fist up or whatever. Like they could do so many kinds of like parody with that kind of stuff and make it like but then it would make Trump seem cool. That's one thing that was like weird about the way that they handle some of this stuff. Is like
Wednesday.
see if it was like like Boondocks. They both make fun of and they're kind of like supportive of Obama, but like I don't know. It's weird. It's weird how they handle stuff like that. But
It doesn't make any sense.
let's see.
Sorry, I'm trying, and he keeps talking shit to me. I'm trying to tell him like the easier way to back up and get out. And
What you were saying makes no sense.
you just back up like 5 feet and then pull through there, right there, and come out instead of having to back all the way out into the road. Do you not ever pay attention whenever? No, I already know the answer to that.
No watching and learning for him, huh?
No, absolutely no. None of that like observing and learning from what he sees around him. Like this is all going to be on the fly in the experience. Were you worried you were going to run into that tree line too? Is that why you came out so slow?
Well,
No!
maybe this is the
I'm gonna smack you.
level of education he attained. Maybe this is probably what his public school teaching taught him.
Are these
Sean's
dudes learning how to like? Are these dudes learning how to like do the power up sounds for anime like action
Yes.
Superheroes?
That's gotta be what it is.
Well, I mean, we basically just watched an entire episode of Dragon Ball Z right there. It's just
Yes.
each side yelling at each other as they power up. That was basically an entire episode.
Yeah.
All right, this is something that always pisses me off about like I really have sincerely tried to get into Dragon Ball, but because I had a roommate that loved that shit in college, and so he watched it all the time, and I tried.
That's why you hate it.
And I have tried since then to get into it, and there are too many episodes where it's literally that it's one side charging up and the other side charging up, and there's like the secondary characters that are all talking about, oh look, he's powering up this and this and this so he can unleash this and this and this, and oh no, he's going to counter with this and this, but nothing ever happens. They just talk about it, but while you see the two of them doing it, and then at the very end they like launch at each other like they're about to hit, and then nothing happens. It, like roll credits, it's the end, like next time. But then next time when you tune back in, we're tuning in after the fight already happened, and you just see the devastation, and you don't actually get to see the fight ever. And I'm just like, all right, I'm fucking done with this.
I think you must have missed episodes because there always is a fight. It's just that they like there's like segments, like the fights are segmented. Like you have to watch the next episode and then there'll be like a part of the fight. Yeah, like they segment. That's what a lot of people don't like is they segment the fights into like here's like this episode episode is the first quarter of the fight, and it's like I just want to see the big hits, like, and it's like the first they're just kind of like sparring, they're just kind of doing jabs, I'm jab, jab, and then all of a sudden like the fourth episode is when they like do the big power up, and then they like big smash and like smack the guy through like 4 buildings. That's
Netflix had a show called Record of Ragnarok that is like the gods have decided to just end humanity, and they're done fucking with these dumb humans. So they're going to end humanity. And one of the other ones says, we should at least give them a chance to prove their their worth. So they're going to have a battle between the greatest humans of all, like, ever, versus whatever gods want to fight them. And so you spend like 5 episodes of just for the first fight. Like, the first episode is just explaining what's going to happen, and then you get 4 episodes of the first fight between, I can't even remember who the 2 characters were, one of the gods and some like
this is literally part of, like, so there was like the newest Dragon Ball like series that they had literally did this exact thing. They had gods battling, or well, no, it wasn't gods battling. It was like every universe had to send people, and they had to battle against each other because the gods were displeased. And then if basically who the last one standing would be the only universe, because like they were apparently like they were the like scrap universes, like they were the trash essentially. And it's like we're gonna delete all the universes that don't win because they're not worthy, basically.
All the shitty multiverses get canceled out.
Yeah. That's the whole premise of it. That's like, it's like the same idea though. Like,
but so like this Record of Ragnarok, it's like, oh, he's about to use this attack. It's his strongest attack he's got, and then he hits, and the other dude counters it, and then that dude charges up his strongest attack that he's ever used, and then he counters it, and then we move to the next. Oh, this is his super secret. Nobody even knew that he had this super strong attack, and it's like. And then this one lands a devastating blow, and the guy gets up, and now he charges up his other super secret, super devastating, like nobody ever knew that. It's like, well, how many times can we fucking do this? Just like,
well, you know, the funniest part about that though is that the coolest shit that Dragon Ball does is that, like, the coolest moves that they have in there, they do it once and then it's like never brought up. Like they don't even remember that it happened. Like he does the coolest shit, and it's like, this is the coolest move ever. And then it's like, oh, it never happened. Like,
well, that's like the versus stuff. Like, who would win in a fight between Superman and Goku? Who would win in a fight between Wolverine and whatever? It's like, well, Goku always, because what we've established with Dragon Ball is Goku has unlimited power. It doesn't matter what it is. He has a super special, super secret move that never existed before and will never exist again after this, that he can use this one time to defeat everything. Like, oh, the universe is about to end? Nope. He has this super special move that he didn't even know he could do, and he just fixed it. It'll never be referenced again. It never happened again. But in this one instance, so it's like, yeah, anytime they bring up, like, who would win between so-and-so and Goku, it's always Goku. Like, and Dragon Ball has established that it's always Goku. Nothing else matters.
I love the Marvel's fans though, that they had they made this like thing where it's like shows like Goku and Vegeta like, oh yeah, let's go against the Marvel heroes, like we're gonna fight the Marvel heroes, and then it just shows them like getting the pulp beat up, and it's like, that's not at all how it happened. It's like you've got people like you know. There's some of them like Iron Man I could get, you know, like maybe, you know, the like he'd probably die still, but like he would probably like have gadgets and stuff. But there's some that like are like super questionable though. It's like Black Widow. Like what is Black Widow doing against Goku? There's no way. She's dying. Like she's dead. Like half of them are dead. Like, let's be.
I think we talked about it before. Maybe Sean and I were talking about it. I don't remember. There's like a panel from I can't remember which comic it is, but it's like Daredevil is like sitting on a ledge watching all of these like superpowers, like super beings, just beat the shit out of each other and destroy the city. And Spider-Man like swings in and props up on the ledge with him. He's like, we might ought to jump in there and do something. And Daredevil's like, dude, those are literal gods destroying an entire city. Like, we're both squishy, mortals. Like, we're gonna sit this one out and let them do this. Like, what do we contribute to this? Like there are like, and that's one of the things where it's because comic stuff. It's like you were saying, Black Widow or some of the others. It like, okay, there are certain situations where yes, that's practical, and Marvel Comics and some of the others do a good job with some of those characters, like Hawkeye and Daredevil and Black Widow, like giving them stuff where they can do spy stuff and be sneaky, and or like Daredevil fights a lot of like street level type, like non meta human types, and that makes sense. Like that's where he can be effective, and also like why would Captain America or Tony Stark or something like mess with those? Like that's where it makes sense, and there are really good stories that are developed out of that. But then they do these big crossovers, and you've got these like normal, squishy, easily broken humans trying to fight against like literal godlike characters. It's like, we can suspend disbelief for a bit, but like now you're crossing some lines.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's just like the Fantastic Four against Thanos, that's like way they're way overpowered. Like they're punching above. Like if they can't have them punch above their weight classes.
Well, and then you've got other. I've seen some of them that on these like versus podcasts or versus pages, and it'll list some insane like new variation of. I think there's one that's like Eternal Blade or something. It's like Blade, except Blade now has all the powers of Dracula, and apparently Dracula had like all kinds of insane powers. That I was like, all right, I've read,
God. See, this is the I mean, they're basically stealing from Dragon Ball, like because it's like new forms. It's like that. That's what the whole Miles Morales thing is like. Oh, he's Spider-Man, but he also can shock things, and that's cooler, and go invisible, and that's cooler because now he has more than just like the spider powers. Now he can do this.
Yeah,
but his whole thing was being a Tony Stark level genius and creating his own gadgetry to then combat everything that he fought. Because how the hell is he fighting against a freaking goblin that throws bombs and all this kind of other stuff if he doesn't have his own equipment to be able to handle it? Like he can make his own shock webs for Christ's sake. Like that's that's where it's just like stupid.
That be part of his power set, and yeah, they just keep adding extra shit. We just like get back to the basics, make stuff good, like tell good story. It's okay. It's like the where they talk about like the weapons getting nerfed. It's like when you have power creep consistently on games and on like comic book characters and stuff like that. Like when the power creep just keeps going to the level field, then you end up with like crazy, insane, retarded, godlike characters versus crazy, insane, retarded, godlike characters, and there's no fucking there's no balance. Like, you have to nerf shit as you change shit so that you maintain balance, and that's like the anime stuff and comic book stuff of late has gotten to where they've gone so far in the like power swing that there's no way to balance it out. So you just have to make everybody else swing their power even further out of control. Did you hear any of that?
Speaking of power being out of control, this guy has some out of control power, apparently.
All right.
Here's the gay loser pride section.
They're like let's go, get out of here. But yeah, I don't. There's they have to make stuff where it's like a balanced. Because if it was just like the villains always winning or or there's whatever it is. It needs to be. They need to have it to where it's a fun looking fight. And that was definitely not a fair fight. Guy just comes up and the gay loser pride section. See, real life isn't fair. So I mean, maybe our fiction shouldn't be fair either. That's a fair point. Maybe our fiction should be like our stuff should be just like destroying, uh, destroying our villains. But we could all we could come together in harmony. That would be another thing we could do, and it would look if Kamala and Trump came together in harmony, it might look like this.
天马飞回，我为随风飞。好对面的三擂台，今天在不在？那年为马来到了你的白毡房，我曾看到你穿着短发的，听过你把的唱。单纯的相逢，平凡的晚上，我就在那个时候啊，傻傻的等到了天亮。月亮坐着你枕帽上的羽毛，亲吻着晚风飘啊飘，飘到了我的心上。流星。
I gotta give it to the Japanese. They have some beautiful sounding music, at least their instruments and everything.
All right, I think I'm back. I'm finally getting away from this fucking school and the dead zone that surrounds it.
He actually make it safely there driving. Without,
yes.
Did he actually even park it right?
He just pulled into the drop off there by the school, and we jumped out and did a Chinese fire drill. I got over here in the driver's seat after he got out, and like the seat is all the way back in the back seat. It's leaned way back. I'm like, no wonder he's such a shitty driver. Like, get up next to the steering. Yeah, get up next to the steering wheel a little bit. Like, he's fine. I'm sure he's fine. I'm sure it's just me being a control freak. I don't like riding with other people. There's only one person on the planet that I don't mind riding with, and that's my brother, and that's because he drives the exact same way I do, and like I'm good with it. I don't like riding with my wife. I'm sure he's fine. It's just like
old man yells at cloud.
He uses the accelerator way too much. Like he's got his foot on the gas. He's got his foot on the gas way too much. It's like, dude, like you can let off and just cruise. You can let off and cruise a lot. Like you can just coast, especially in town. Like you do not need to put your foot on the accelerator as much as you do. Like especially
the speed limit's 45.
Especially in town, like you're going from stoplight to stoplight. So give it enough gas to roll from this stoplight to the next stoplight. Like there's no reason to keep your foot in it as you approach the next red light. And also then on the other side of that, you see the red light, like let off the gas first, like it's red, let off, and maybe start applying a brake. Like don't wait until you get all the way to the red light and then hit the brake. It's like you can start putting your brake on, a good, 100 yards or so before you get there, so that we're not hitting the red light. And now I end up with my fucking forehead in the dashboard. Like, just a thought, just an idea. I don't know.
He'll get it.
Yeah, he'll get it. Yes.
Eventually, it takes time.
I guess he's so he'll be eligible to get his license in May. I'm trying to remember what the date is, but he'll be eligible to get his license in May. So, and he just has to log 50 hours of driving time between now and then he can like take his actual license test and do the driving test part. So his mom will have to teach him how to parallel park, because I have done that once in my life, and that was when I took my driving test. I do not parallel park. Does anybody actually parallel park?
The only people that do are like in the cities. Like, you know, that's the only place I've ever needed to parallel park, and I've never, like, I rarely go to the city and like go to Birmingham or whatever. That's very rare, and that's like the only time I ever have to parallel park. But even then, like, most of the time I can just go. I can go to a parking garage or whatever, and they're just.
I was about to say, if I'm left with the option of trying to like find a spot, like if I'm in a city and I have to find a spot to park, and I'm going to have to parallel park, and usually it has like a parking meter, so I'm going to have to put money in the parking meter, and I got to parallel park. Fuck that shit. I'll find a garage somewhere and just dump my truck there and pay what it like.
Yeah, that's the way.
So a lot of the paid parking around here is just like, it's just a fee lot. Like you pull in and it's like $9 to $12 or something, and you park for however long you need to park there. It's like you just pay the fee, and it's the same in Indy. Indianapolis is that way too. Most of them it's like $12, and you just pay the $12 and you park. We found one in Bloomington when we went up there for the IU game on Saturday. It was 50 cents an hour. So we're there for, like, we go eat, we go to the ball game, and then we leave to come home. $2 to park there. It's like, I was like, and it's about a mile from the stadium, so you got a little bit of a walk, but you're walking across Bloomington, and like there's plenty of stuff. But so that, like, I parked, and then we found a place to eat along the way, and on our way back, there was like little gas station and other little shops and stuff that you could like check out. And, like, I mean, it's a college town, so like the mile walk isn't bad, and to park for $2 fucking bucks. The season parking pass, so you can get like a parking pass and park in one of the lots or whatever there around the stadium. Season parking pass was $200. If you're just paying to park in one of those lots on game day, it's $40 to park. Like, or I can park in a parking garage a mile away and walk and pay $2 for my parking for the day. Like, I think I'm cool with the walking. I mean, also,
unless you're literally going to every game, it's just. I mean, even then, it probably wouldn't be worth it. Like
right?
Okay.
If I go to all 8 home games, and I pay $2 per game, that's $16 for my parking for the season. Plus, I get my walking in. Or I pay $200 for a parking pass. Like, fuck that shit. And also, we went to a little Mexican restaurant that was nearby the parking garage. There's also a really cool looking sports pub. There's like a Chinese place, like a nice Korean place. Like, there's plenty of places to eat and stuff. So you can get out, go eat, walk to the game. Like, I'm really looking forward to going to IU games. This is one of those things that I never thought would ever come out of my mouth ever. Is I'm looking forward to Indiana University football games this year.
See, like the one time that I went to an Auburn game, I think I've been to 2 Auburn games. So the one time that I recall the best was, like, I rode with one of my friends from high school, and his dad, he paid for the parking, and so we were riding there, and I think it was only like 20. It was like 25, but like it was like a jank lot, but it was kind of closer. I think that's what he was going for. It was like kind of closer, but it's like one of those jank lots that people like makeshift, like make a lot. I don't like parking at those ever, but you know, it's always a funny experience.
when Mark and I went to the Michigan Purdue game last year up there at the big house, Mark was like, well, I guess we'll find somewhere to park, and like you're just following traffic and everything. And the parking spot that he pulled into, it was basically just these folks in their yard. Like they're all sitting out there like tailgating and drinking and got cornhole and everything, and they're just like parking people in their yard. And, like give them $40 and park in the yard.
Yeah, that's literally what some of them are. It's crazy, but that was kind of like what we parked at, and it's just like, but hey, Auburn though, dude, it's one of the coolest like campuses. I gotta say, like I've been to Alabama and Auburn campus. I don't know, something about Auburn's campus is just more appealing to me. I don't know, just the
all of those big
SEC
SEC
and everything.
All those big SEC schools have really cool campuses, and like in their own way. Like Mizzou, not so much, but it's fine. But they also weren't like they're a newer addition to the SEC. So like Mizzou, not so much. Vandy, like it's in the middle of national, so it's also not as cool. But it has its appeals. But like the good ones, like Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Bama, Auburn, like they have really cool campuses. Yeah, Georgia. LSU. I like LSU a lot. I don't remember LSU during the daytime at any point because we would usually go down there like later in the evening.
They almost always play night games. I don't think I've ever seen LSU game played at home during the day.
Well, and I don't think I've ever visited LSU's campus during the day. Like we would drive down there on the weekends, and we'd usually leave after everybody got out of class. And so by the time we would get there, it would be early evening, starting to get dark. So I don't remember LSU's campus during the daytime. But I mean, them coon ass girls are, they something else. That was the important part of those trips. It wasn't about those trips were not about LSU. They were about the females at LSU. Yeah. I will say, having gone to a lot of SEC schools and campuses, and recently having gone to a Mississippi State Georgia game, and then last year going to the Michigan game, the co-ed talent on IU's campus is not quite up to snuff with some of those other big schools.
Oh yeah, and you go to you see the Alabama cheerleaders and even their dance line, like even the Alabama dance line. It's hard to. I mean, or just the students, like the like student section. You just look over the student section. It's like, yeah, there's your pick. You like have your, any like throw a dart and like as long as it's not a dude, you're probably pretty good.
So yeah, it's a different level of talent in the South. Oh, all right. I'm hitting construction. Oddly, the construction has started to go away, or I guess I should say the cones have started to go away, not so much the construction itself, because there was never any construction to begin with. As they've taken away cones, and you can use both sides of the road again. I'm driving around and I'm looking and I'm like, so we've had this whole thing coned off since fucking May, and nothing changed, like nothing at all. Like, what have we done for the entire summer? Just block traffic and created a hazard. And I'm sure they issued plenty of speeding tickets for people driving too fast in a construction zone. And also, I've seen
give speeding tickets for the crap that we're forcing on you.
Right, and there have been plenty of massive wrecks where they changed the cone pattern from one day to the next, and without warning, and now people come rolling in here not expecting it to be different and ended up crashing. Like, I feel like
have those signs out every time. Like I feel like there's sometimes where they have really good signage and it's like very clear of like, okay, here's going to be a construction site. Here, like here's the times that we're going to be working, and then there's other times where it's just like, yeah, we're just going to throw this up and nobody cares.
Well, and like the most ridiculous thing about all of it is they do this shit during the day. Like, and especially, I don't understand why they're out at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning when there's heavy traffic of people going to work. Like, you can't do this in the middle of the day when there's no traffic, or do it at night when there's no traffic. Like, you've got to have these crews out at 6 o'clock. And I understand it's hot in the middle of the day, but do it at night. Like, there are solutions.
Well, I mean, even in the middle of the day, like if you like, they would probably do it around noon, like when people are like leaving, going to lunch or whatever. They're gonna do it at noon. Like they can't like just pick up like, okay, let's wait until like 6 o'clock. You know, everybody should be kind of through the 5 o'clock traffic. Let's go out at 6 o'clock, work 6 to 12, so you know, maybe 6 to 10 or something like that. You get 4 good hours in of that. Work on it, and then we'll like time in between. Honestly, they should just break it up and have time in between, like in between the heavy traffic. They should be like working on it, and then but it's like they're just gonna, like, we're gonna work on it at peak hours. I did see this cool thing though. I forget where it was. It was like some kind of, forget which country it was, but they had some kind of like thing where they could do construction on the, like, work on the road, but it was like a path over, like you could, like an overpass, just like you can go straight over what they're doing, and they kind of move it along as they're going. Like, that's the coolest thing. If we had something like that, it would never be a problem. But instead, we just block off traffic. We don't do any construction, and
right now, like, I don't understand. They will block off, especially up on the, like, on the main highway. They will have a huge section, like 3 solid miles blocked off, and they're working on one little piece at a time. Like, why can't we just divert traffic around the little piece you're working on every day? Why do we have to block off a whole 3-mile fucking stretch and bottleneck traffic in for this period? Like, you could just block off the part you're working on today, because they're never working on all of it at the same time. Like, it's usually a crew that's moving down the 3-mile path, working on something today, something the next, like, in the rare event that they are actually doing anything at all. Like, why do we got to block off this much? And it's always at a bad spot where there's like, where there's a ramp, either an on ramp or an off ramp. So you've bottlenecked traffic, and you also have incoming and outgoing traffic that are trying to figure out how to maneuver this thing. It's like,
it sucks. It sucks having to, like, when they have construction up and you're like trying to hit the exit, and there's like the exit, like they have like a cut, like little small cut section for you to go through, and it's not the actual exit like lane. So you're having to figure out where, like, how I'm gonna dive in here.
yeah, which of these cones am I supposed to drive between to get off of this road?
Yeah. Like, they don't have it like properly sectioned. It's just like, here, you know that they left these cones apart just enough so people could make the exit. You're just like I'm gonna dive in there.
Yeah.
Dude, I always, well, like my wife like thinks it's crazy because I'm always like, good old ALDOT, the Department of Transportation, like they're the best.
I think everybody feels that way about their DOT wherever they live. Like, they're just, this is just such a huge contribution to humanity to have these. Did you see the thing? Oh, what was it? It was somewhere in Europe where the roads had started to, like, develop potholes and come apart, and underneath the pavement they're starting to get like the old Roman cobblestone roads that are still there underneath it. Like, why don't you just tear all this shit out and go back to the thing that was actually built to last by people that knew what the fuck they were doing, instead of a bunch of government bureaucrat bullshit that are just like, this whole
like
thing
guaranteeing themselves future jobs. Like, it's like, oh, we're gonna make this so horribly that it's gonna have potholes, and then we're guaranteed future
Right.
jobs.
We're going to build a shitty road that's going to develop potholes in the next 2 to 5 years, and then we're going to spend the rest of our lives filling the potholes until the road is finally nothing but filler over the potholes, and then we'll come back in, we'll strip the whole thing out, and then we'll rebuild
Do it
it
again.
and then in a couple of years it'll start getting potholes, and then rinse and repeat. Like, how to have a job forever. And the biggest problem with it is, like, the Department of Transportation and everything, like, they get these budgets. They have a budget every year for how much money they're allotted, and their job is to spend that money. It doesn't matter if it's spent well. It doesn't matter if anything gets done at all. Somebody just needs to get
spend it on
paid.
junk. Yeah.
Yes, somebody just needs to get paid. Like, the budget just needs to be at zero by the end of the year. In fact, if the budget goes over, that means that they need more for next year. It's like,
Yes.
the worst thing you can do.
They're encouraged to spend every single dime.
And then some. Like, yeah, the worst thing you can do in government is not spend all the money they give you, because that means you didn't need it all, and they'll give you less next time. It's like, so you are encouraged to overspend and underproduce. It's the most nonsensical bullshit system on the planet, and yet it's the one that, for some reason, most of the morons in this country seem to think is the one that should be governing the way we do everything.
Exactly.
And yet people think that the Department of Education is working.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously not like smart people, but.
Oh my god, I had a horrible sneeze here. Yeah.
I was to say, you good? I couldn't hardly see you. You like disappeared off the screen.
Yeah, dude, that one was like, oh, dude, that's like the first fall sneeze, basically. Like, fall's coming, I know. It's always the beginning of fall, the beginning of spring, and beginning of fall. I don't understand why.
We've had a little bit of
fall. Like, I can understand spring, like I having allergies, but like,
we've had a little bit of head colds and stuff going around here over the last couple of weeks. We've had some cooler weather. It's the weather change, and it like the leaves are starting to turn and stuff. So it's different. It's pollen, but not the same as in the spring. But yeah, we've had a little bit of that going around. Sean and Katie and Nadia all had like mild head colds. I had a couple days where I didn't feel great. I like loaded up on some nighttime like cold medicine and knocked myself out for a day, and after that I was fine. Like so Wednesday I had to take Stephanie. No, not Wednesday. Yesterday. Yesterday I had to take Stephanie to urgent care. She's been having a little bit of the seasonal allergy stuff and been a little bit groggy and kind of tired, and it was like messing with her inner ears. And I don't know, I guess you got like little like calcium, like little floaty bone things that are like behind your eardrums, and they don't really do anything unless they get out of alignment or whatever. And then if they get out of alignment, then it fucks with your equilibrium. And so she was having some pretty severe vertigo. Vertigo yesterday. I woke me up yesterday morning because I hear her like slam into the wall, and my initial instinct on hearing that I'm thinking that it's still like middle of the night, like midnight, 1 a.m. and she's drunk and like slammed into the wall. And then I open my eyes and it's not. It's like, day or morning, and she's like doubled over trying to get her balance. I was like, "Are you all right? Like, do I need to come help you?" And she's like, "No, I'm fine. Just having a little dizzy spell." And then like slumps over onto the edge of the bed. I was like, "You are not fine." I was like, "Get up here, and lay down. Like, I'll take care of getting the kids and everything. Once I get everybody to school, I'll come back and I'm gonna take you to urgent care. Like, you need to get this checked out because that's not good. You can't." She's like, no, I'm fine. I'll go to work. And I was like, "You can't even walk. How are you gonna fucking drive?" So yeah, They did something.
Like, I don't
like
even
they're-
like doctors, but like this is this special case here.
Yeah. Well, so they did some like, and I really like the urgent care that we have in town. Like, they don't dick around with any bullshit. You go in, you tell them what's up, they'll check you out real quick, and like you're in and out fast. And they don't try to do any like stupid shit. Like the doctor or the nurse practitioner, or whatever, the one that treated Stephanie, she's like, I'll give you something for the nausea and the dizziness, but otherwise, like, here's a list of exercises that you should do to help get everything kind of realigned and make it where that you're not having this problem. It's like they're not trying to medicate everything. They're not trying to do like long-term care on stuff. It's like, here's how we fix it. Now go the fuck away.
See, ours is like either you're gonna get medication or you're gonna get sent the hell home and said like nothing's wrong with you. Like that's their way of handling it, is like either nothing's like really wrong with you or you're just like here's a script. Like that's
See, and I hate that shit. Like that's
because okay. It took me roughly 2 years to figure out what was going on with my shoulder. Then I had surgery for it, and it like that was mostly me doing my own research actually, and then asking questions. I'm like, hey, what about this? And then finally, one doctor actually listens, and then he's like, oh yeah, I know about that. And then he was like, yeah, let me check and see. And he's like, yeah, that's probably what it is. And I'm like, my God, dude. They're like, it doesn't come out on X-ray. It doesn't do this. Well, and it's like,
well, it's like the doctor that my ex takes the kids to. Like, she's just a pill pusher. Like whatever they go in for, she's like, oh yeah, we got this pill for that, and puts them on another fucking prescription. I've finally convinced Sean to stop taking like most of the shit. I don't think he takes hardly anything. I don't think he takes any of it anymore. But I'm like, you realize like diet and exercise and just not being a fucking pussy would go a whole lot further than any of this bullshit she's prescribing you, right? And so like, I think the kids are finally starting to figure out that like all this doctor does is prescribe shit. I was like, the only people that go to the doctor are sick people. Like, and the more you go to the doctor, the more sick you are. Like, look at me. I never go to the doctor ever, and I'm healthy as a fucking horse. Like, and everybody that I know who's healthy, they don't go to the doctor. If they get a little head cold or they start feeling bad or whatever, they don't go to the doctor. Like, their mom will take them to the doctor every time they get a fucking sniffle. I'm like, or just like, don't be such a fucking pussy. Go for a run and sweat it out. You'll be fine. Like you're teenagers. You're teenagers. You don't need to go to the doctor ever. Like unless you're literally dying, there's no reason to go to the doctor. And if you're literally dying, there's not much a doctor can do for you anyway. So still no point.
Well, there's the rare exception, like my wife's case, because she has a genetic disease, and it, like apparently forever, like she had this problem, whatever, and then they were like finally, like, oh, like she was getting like really tired easily and stuff like this, and then they were just thinking that like, oh, there's she did something, like she ran or whatever, she's tired. But then, like, it was getting to be, like, really bad, and they were like, oh, like, lucky we caught this, or else you would probably die, like, fell over and died at some point.
Well, it's like for Stephanie, I'm much more encouraging of her to go to the doctor, but she also has a heart irregularity. She has half of her spine is artificial. Like she had a major spinal surgery when she was in high school. Like she's got like a big scar where they like cut her open and replaced her spine and had to like reorganize organs and stuff to fit everything in there. And so I'm like, with her, I'm a lot more encouraging of like, hey, maybe you should go see the doctor about that. Like, your heart's not supposed to flutter like that. Yeah. Like whenever you lose your breath because your heart did something, I'm like, that's not a normal thing. Like you should probably go see the doctor about that. Of course, her doctor, I might kill my wife's cardiologist because he's like, oh, that's just a normal thing. You shouldn't actually feel that. Like, this is not normal. Like it takes her breath away. It's like, dude, no, you need to like look into it. Like he refuses to check it out because he's like, oh, that's just a normal thing. You shouldn't even be able to feel that. No,
she does. It's like, but she does.
Right, but she does. So if she does, then maybe it's not a normal thing. Maybe there's something abnormal about that, and you should.
Well,
I don't know,
it's just like
it.
That's the same thing that happened with me whenever I go to like they're like I'm like I'm 30, but I was like maybe some of it's just getting old. Maybe my bones are a little bit stiffer or whatever. But then like when I like it's like cracking and popping, and I'm like telling him like, hey, I got some cracking and popping going on here. And he's like, oh, that's normal. A little bit's normal. And then it's like I let him like, okay, so is this normal? And it's like crunch, and then they're like, that doesn't sound normal. Let's X-ray it. And they X-ray it. They're like, well, I didn't see anything on the X-ray, so therefore it doesn't exist. So like I don't know what to tell you. Like. It's like your alignment's great. Like your spine, everything else like looks fine. But then it's just like, oh, but this big problem here, like maybe you should look a little bit deeper, figure out what's going on. Nope, above their pay grade. They'll take my copay though. They sure as hell take my copay.
Yeah, the medical industry is a fucking runt, and. No point. Get back to holistic. I'm just gonna find a witch doctor. I'm not even gonna mess with real doctors. I think voodoo is probably more practical than modern medicine.
What is the acupuncture? go back to acupuncture. Just poke me with a bunch of needles and all is well, apparently.
I mean, it would probably work better than all the pills. At least with the acupuncture, you don't have to worry about all the side effects of like suicidal tendencies and I don't know,
like stomach problems, whatever.
Stomach problems, heart problems, digestive problems, like all kinds of other stuff. It's like, dude, I just
and then
had
you mix them together. Like people don't even think about they mix them together too. So it's like
that was the funniest thing. Stephanie's anti-nausea and anti-dizziness stuff that they gave her, and also they said there was some inflammation in her sinuses, so they gave her a steroid to take the inflammation down. So she gets an anti-nausea pill that one of the side effects is could cause dizziness. She gets an anti-dizziness pill that one of the side effects is could cause nausea. Both of them cause drowsiness. But then she's got a steroid, so she's gonna be like all jacked up on steroids while also like droopy and drowsy, while the nausea medicine and the dizziness medicine are fighting over which symptom you are or aren't gonna have. It was like, and I was like, you're about to be fucked up. Like you might as well just drink a whole bottle of wine, take all this shit, and then let God sort it out. Modern medicine's fucking retarded.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.